with a stacked roster like this, one of the worst seasons anyone could have predicted. But if you want to practice the fundamentals and use this like as a T1 scrim, you know, maybe you do handshake. Maybe you do actually try to win and try to improve in this best of 3. As, you know, I don't blame DRX for handshaking. Yeah, you're probably not going to beat T1, but you might learn something along the way. Because that is kind of the mentality for Korean teams across all of Korean esports, is like, don't do something different and lose. Actually try to work on fundamentals.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my argument, or counter-argument to what the desk was saying, is I think DRX are looking at this in a very different way.
Yeah, you also, I don't think it's... I understand what Huni's saying, and I 100% respect it, but there's also the fact that, like, you don't win a cook-off against T1. Like, you just don't.
Yeah.
Like, they're the master chefs of the LCK. So, honestly, like, if you convince them to play a straight-up game, then that's kind of the best you can hope for. And sadly, it's not enough.
It's sad. We just, like, keep saying this. I'm like, you can't beat them at, like, standard. You can't beat them at weird. I'm like, man, they shouldn't even show up today. Like, you know, it's. I mean, at some point, you know, I personally like the standard approach, but maybe now we move into game 2, we do have a bit of a cook-off, as Annie and Ash both banned here. T1 keeping that Rakan ban.
Ooh,
so
Elise.
preventing Barrel.
Elise, maybe?
Well, there's no Varus. You know, it could be a Karma first pick here too. If they wanted to run something like that. Go Karma, Ezreal. You could see an Elise pick and then Duckdom just plays Aphelios. You know, I would love to see some Duckdom Aphelios myself personally.
That would be fun.
Sejuani, good first pick here.
Sejuani doesn't exactly scream interesting to me. It's been our most played jungler here in the LCK by a considerable margin. As T1 is going to lock in Jace and Gragas, as they like to do on red side.
So these were banned last time when T1 was on blue side. Now that they're on red side, they will take these. Now T1 started this, made this popular, and now with the Lucian ban, the Caitlyn ban, the Varus ban, you can play Zeri, Lulu, and feel pretty okay about what you're running into. Now, this is when the cooking starts, though. This is when you're like, ooh, what's going on? Like, what's going on, T1? Because you don't have the standard responses to Zeri, so we might have to see some different responses. We might have to see some strange ability power bottom lane champions.
Some odd ones. Not to be confused with
the former TSM
player in the jungle. Watched a video of his from like season 4 the other day.
I watch him stream all the time. He's streaming.
Oh yeah, what's he playing? He was playing like Slay the Spire and stuff.
Yeah,
like that
I don't remember what I just watched him, man, all the time. I don't know what he was playing last time I watched him. I think it was JRPG. So
okay, cool. Oh, there we go. Good to see the other one doing well. As T1 going to lock in Lee Sin here for one of their players. We don't know where any of these are going right now. I don't want to. I'm just not going to tell you.
Well, this is what T1 does. They have 3 flex picks here now.
Yeah.
Now, the most standard approach would be Jace goes top, Gragas goes mid, and Lee Sin is jungle, and that's probably what's going to happen. But you never know for sure. And so now, what do you even ban as DRX? Or you're like, should I ban Senna? Like, are they going to do that, or are they just going to play normal? Like, what if should we ban Thresh? Like, what if they just play Thresh Aphelios? Like, should we ban a top lane? Like, what if it's support Gragas and it's Kalista Gragas? Like, they could do that too.
You never
They're going to ban the Aphelios. Okay, so that one of these things they have made a choice, and they're like, it's not going to be the Aphelios lane.
Yeah, no Aphelios Thresh this time around. I wonder whether they just ban something like Keria's Thresh because he's so good at it, or even a Kalista. If you ban Kalista, then it does stop some of the cooking, perhaps?
Yeah, it's Tom Kench, another one of those picks where, like, the cooking gets real, but I think banning Senna is probably, like, the safest thing you can do here, but it doesn't feel strong. Like, it doesn't actually feel like a good ban, but it's like, if you're not sure what you're running into here, and T1 do have that final counter pick, it feels like this is another great move, you know, in terms of winning bottom lanes that do extremely well against Zeri Lulu. Because if we see like a Kog'Maw lane here, or sorry, it could be Kog'Maw, but that's not even Cho'Gath lane here, then is that actually good into Zeri Lulu? Like, maybe not.
Do you think, judging by these bans, Wolf, do you think that DRX are scared of Gumayusi?
Yes. But also Keria.
Yeah, how many of these champions are... Oh, they're doing it.
So we're just doing it no matter what.
Yeah, there we go.
And Keria doesn't seem happy about it.
No. Okay, so here's the angle for DRX. They flex Lulu to mid lane, and they pick away the center.
I would love it. I would actually love it. Or you put Zeri mid. And do something else.
Lulu top lane into Jace? That sounds...
No.
Not good.
No.
No.
Well, this is when things get really stressful on DRX. We haven't actually talked about this too much this season. As a little bit Talia on the Rift here, and then grab a Cassante. Oh,
Viego.
Okay.
Oh,
so it's a Viego Senna.
Yeah. So we got the Rascal in the top lane situation.
Cassante teased, but probably Senna.
Do it, Keria.
All right.
He's cycling through a few of his options that he knows that he has. Is he just going to play support Cho'Gath? Are we just going to play Cho'Gath top lane and do something crazy? Oh, they could. Because I could imagine Cho'Gath into Sejuani. Decent matchup.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't really think about that.
And you can play Senna Gragas if you want to.
Wait, hold on. Let's wait. I think it's going to be Cho'Gath Senna because that's what they're preparing.
Gumayusi's been practicing it a lot.
But, I mean, you do
that
raise a
would
good
be
point.
dope, wouldn't it?
I kind of just assumed now you do this with teleport, so that's why he has the teleport locked in the summoner. But yeah, I see where you're going with this. Like it would have been actually pretty cool, and it's very strong in the Sejuani with the feast value.
Yeah. And
but
then you can put Gragas down the bottom lane. You can put I don't know. I don't think you want to put Jace there.
T1 has turned these teams into their guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And it's like it's very cool, it's very fun, but it's also kind of messed up in a weird way. And I think like when I see the players' faces where they know this is possibly coming, but it could be anything standard. It's hard to draft against, it's hard to ban against it, and now you have this immense feeling of dread if you are DRX.
I miss dread.
Me too. But you have this immense feeling of dread because you're like, I have literally been turned into this series is now a showboat for T1, and I have to. If I beat this, no one will respect me because I'm like, oh, T1 were showboating, that's why they lost. And if I lose, I will be humiliated. And that is like the mental game that happens sometimes in these Game 2s with T1, and has been happening for a long time, but you love to see it. We walked in today going, we're going to get a show. I'm going to get that Cho'Gath lane, and guess what? We did.
Yeah, and you actually said it as you sat down. You're like, oh, but Atlas, we're gonna get some Cho'Gath in the bottom lane. And I'm like, oh, we commentated that just recently in Challenger. It didn't go so well. But and you're like, yeah, but Gumayusi Keria, they've been practicing it. They're the ones that are going to be really good at it, right? And this is how we're going to shape the evolution of the bottom side of the map. Well, here it is.
Here it is.
I'm very scared, Wolf, about the item build that Senna might be going for here. But let's just hop onto the Rift and hope that that doesn't happen. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 2, the game where T1 are allowed to cook. They got their chef's license after winning a very standard game of League of Legends almost perfectly, -1 kill in game number 1.
And we can actually talk about what these compositions do, but probably not right now.
Oh no. Oh no, the hidden Gragas is the deadliest.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Well.
Oh dear. Well, Body Slam's going to miss. But Oner's coming over, and Arctic Assault is going to be taken. Oner connects the Q, and Rascal's running it out. Croco doesn't have a lot to offer this one, but the threaded volley is going to be enough to deter them.
No summoners expended here on either side.
Yeah, Rascal didn't flash.
Barrel.
You definitely
catch Keria.
Oh, here we go. All right. Keria, Piercing Darkness. He might have to flash, though, if some rocks are going to be thrown out. His heal comes in first, and now Gumayusi has moved on over. Another body slam is going to get a flash out of Fade. And I don't know how Keria turned that into a positive for them, but it kind of worked out. They trade heals, and now Docked Arm. It's his turn to lie in wait in a brush.
Faker had body slam locked in first, and they knew it. So when Faker came back over, they were like, that's going to be off cooldown in just a moment. We actually have to respect it. We're going to back away. Now, what you could do with Zeri into this lane, and I want to talk about some of the salties of this when we go back to like T1 cooking memes and stuff like that, but Zeri can actually outspeed and push through with Ghost the Rupture, and then actually look for incredibly good trades. So if Barrel and Duckdown play this well, they can win this lane, and they can win it hard. But it's going to be about the range, and it's going to be about how much of this Gumayusi CC hits, because he has to, you know, obviously oscillate between, with his Q-Max, whether he's going to be rupturing the minions or trying to catch these players.
Yeah. And we saw this from Jiwoo, from Nongshim's Challenger team earlier in the week. And he actually played the lane very well. They lost the game, but the Cho'Gath wasn't the problem. And in fact, Jiwoo is never really the problem on that team, but that's a whole different story.
Watch Challengers, by the way.
Yeah, you should definitely, because you do get to see a lot of the things first. As Docked Arm is going to be able to get a fair bit of damage back onto Gumayusi, who ferally screams at him. And now, Croco up towards this top side of the map. Zeus doing the Zeus thing, which is pushing a billion minions at his opposition when he plays Jace.
Diego's, you know, gonna be hard pressed to be avoided here. Is like Zeus does have flash, but there's a lot of minions here, so even to commit to this is going to be expensive for Rascal, and he's pretty well aware.
Yeah. Well, now they're going to go for it. Zeus may have to look for a bit of a flash over this wall. Oner is here in perfect position as the permafrost not actually going to be opted into.
And if Rascal wants to chase this, he's going to lose so many minions.
Zeus is back over the wall yet again. And yeah, I think they just knew that Oner was probably waiting there, and so they're not actually able to overcommit.
Yeah, it was a cool idea. Zeus does lose his flash here, excuse me.
Oh, it's your turn to have the frog in the throat.
Yeah, you gave it to me.
33-4.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at Lee Sin, is our friend Oner. Yeah.
I have serious concerns about the way that the CC can go here. Okay, speaking of.
Well, the root is going to connect there, as Gumayusi doesn't have another rupture, so that is good news.
Very difficult for Oner to actually make something happen positively here with Sejuani with Ignite. And obviously Zeus being flashless at this point in time, so he's just staying here defensively. But yeah, the ways in which you can chain CC together here as T1 are pretty insane, because you can, of course, as Senna, set up for the root, then the Rupture comes through, the Silence comes through, Cast comes through, Body Slam comes through, Kick can come through.
And then the little hammer boop. The hammer boop.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Maybe like that one's like the least likely one to come through, but it can in some cases come through, right?
Yeah.
And so this is how T1 are going to play this one out. And now that they've gotten some good trades here, all it takes is one bit of CC to hit, and then you start winning this lane, because you do obscene amounts of damage during those knock-up durations and root durations.
Top lane is pretty
popular. It's a 2v2 right now.
It is. It definitely is, as Croco in position. Zeus not moving too far forward, missing a few of these CS. They're going down pretty fast because his wave is massive. Oh dear. Croco going to be spotted. And now, it's a great position for T1, as just a 2v2 underneath this turret. However, Zeus gets engaged on. Rascal has to deal with a bunch of minions as well. But the Ignite is going to be involved, and Zeus not going to be able to help out. Can Oner actually make this one happen? As, they get the first blood!
The outplay.
And they also manage to get the possession as well, as Croco is looking for this. Q, he turns it around! Zeus the God gets one, but it's still a double kill for the Sejuani, and great news for DRX.
Yeah, on the bottom side of the map here, though, T1 grabbing a lot of plate gold as Duckdom was forced to back, so lots of money going into Guma's pocket here, and they are starting to take a pretty significant CS lead. But on top side of the map there, they wanted to force that so hard with the Viego. They have the permafrost value, and this is the synergy you have with Viego. You have a Sejuani and Ignite, so you should have more damage, but he's down a level to start things off, and then Zeus decides to all in at the last possible second because he realizes, okay, this is a lost cause. I am actually just going to trade this for a kill. And Croco kind of waits so long before he actually goes for the Sonic Wave that he gets the opportunity. As we'll watch this one more time. So notice Oner is up a level here, attempts to block the stun actually onto Zeus, and is unsuccessful, and then Zeus takes a ton of damage here, and then Oner gets permafrosted. He wants to turn this around. Rascal sidesteps. That's the kill. Croco flashing means that he's not able to avoid the all-in here from Zeus, and Croco's just waiting to try to hit the perfect Q, and then Zeus actually just bursts him down.
Man, really nicely played here by DRX. I loved Arctic Assault interrupting to the skies, making sure that they can get all of that initial damage onto Zeus. Zeus had 0 mana, so that was difficult. Okay, Croco is probably just dead, as Oner is going to be able to secure that one. And the Glacial Prison is avoided because Oner pressed his safeguard button. As now Faker is going to take a drink, and he's going to walk, guys. And Fate is just real. Oh, flashes! Faker's still walking at him though, but doesn't want to go toe-to-toe with the turret, so they will let Fate live.
Oner might have another idea. Okay, he doesn't decide to chase further because they don't know where Viego is exactly, as Croco is back up and online on the Rift, and thought maybe he would chase him there, but he does not. As the Catalyst is online here for Guma with the tier. So he's able to get that off of the first back here. This is pretty huge because now he's going to be stacking, both of these items. Fast Rod,
Oh dear, Gumayusi just going to walk at them. Duckdom moving pretty slowly after the Rupture as Feral Scream comes out. And look at this, Keria and Gumayusi just getting permanent shove here in this lane because Keria can just rain down harassment, can help with the wave clear. And Gumayusi's ahead.
Yeah, and he's stacking souls every time he does that follow-up damage, every time he hits these roots. Oner... No level 6, so I don't think he's going to commit super hard to this.
I think Zeus is also like still ahead in gold by like a decent margin.
Yeah,
he
happens to be 30 CS ahead.
Yeah, that is almost double. The wave is going to be picked up here by Rascal, but if you didn't look at that CS number, you just looked at the scoreline, you'd be like, oh, Rascal doing a great job. But
Faker
the sidesteps
the stun, has the cast set up after Oner has already attached the Sonic Wave, can dash back over here before he gets punished by Croco, and then Faker gets a body slam once more. Oner's on top of Fate, and Fate flashes so well here, perfectly over the fat wall after getting the blast cone there, so barely survives. Like, that was very, very close to his death, as you said. But now T1 with a significant gold lead here, already 1,000, and we're going to trade objectives. But where can you actually put this Herald as DRX in this case? A question that they're going to have to answer.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. And the first Drake being a mountain as well is so good for T1.
It really is.
With this burly composition that they have set up for themselves. Keria, I think, is going to go for the classic that we have seen, which is the Heartsteel Senna.
So
a bit of a favorite here in the LCK as far as competitive is concerned, even if the majority of players in solo queue across the world do like Eclipse or Kraken Slayer.
Yeah, Umbroglaive, you know, nerfed, but I still like it a lot, especially for T1, considering how they snowball games and how much vision control you get with that. See, with the back timing here of Guma, he's going to catch this wave here, so behind the gold for a moment, but that's going to change.
Ooh, satisfying.
Super satisfying. Takes a gold lead, takes a 13 CS lead.
Yep.
And, you know, he has Catalyst in tier. Faker has Catalyst in tier. We're scaling. Look at that damage with Comet coming through with the Q-Max here, with the AP he's stacked up already.
Yeah,
you just really have to avoid those.
Being able to go back and collect tier and Catalyst just feels so good as this Gragas and the Cho'Gath. So T1 just sitting pretty right now. It's not a lot of damage, but you just have so much survivability, and you have your late game sort of insurance policy set up.
Yeah, you're basically going to
getting a lot of value.
You're going to scale naturally now without any help from anybody else.
Ooh, Gumayusi, delicious.
Delicious.
Nom nom. He's not playing Gentleman Cho'Gath, which I find a little bit sad, but Jurassic is the second best.
Alice, I think you only see Gentleman Cho'Gaths. That's the only Cho'Gaths you see.
I think that like my favorite voice line in all of League of Legends is "Up you go." I still think it's my just all-time favorite. I love it so much. As Rascal going to go in, they're looking for Keria here, who does have to flash. Shock Blast going to miss here from Zeus.
Faker's here,
as
though.
the regroup does come through. Faker, where is the cast going? He finds the body slam first as Croco is just wiped out. And now T1 can separate them underneath this turret. There's the cast to move Sejuani a little bit further north, and the Rupture is going to miss, but still, Rascal's going to go down. The safeguard comes through, and that was so cute. They managed to get the root onto Fate as well. Seismic Shove is going to move Oner away, but he connects another Q! Double kill for the jungler. There's a reason why he's like a 90% win rate on this champion.
Yeah,
he's so good,
I
man.
mean, just every single wave that Zeus crashes, they just set up a dive. And Rascal has Croco's help most of the time here, but if he actually commits to trying to do anything, he's losing farm. And he can't clear these waves fast enough because he's Sejuani. And this time, Keria has sneaked through the jungle because they pre-set up vision to make it safe. Look at those wards there that Faker's also going to walk through here. That they set up to make sure that Keria can get into position to do this. They have so much control over this part of the map that these dives are set up, and Rascal's like, I just want to kill the minions. I just want to farm. I'm 40 CS down against this Zeus James.
Well, Gumayusi is in a rough spot here. I don't know whether the alcove will save him as he yells at the air, and I would be yelling as well if I was cornered and a Cho'Gath.
But he has his Rod of Aegis online now.
He does. He can continue scaling it from the Death Chamber.
Yeah, so he's not feeling too bad about this.
Yeah, it did just teleport to the bottom lane, which makes you a little bit sad, but that's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, this is the T1 cooking game, so you're allowed to have a couple of deaths, and already there is 3 times the amount of deaths for T1 in this game as there were prior.
True.
Yeah.
Let's see how this started off. He's looking for anybody there with his Rupture. This is just greed, though.
Yeah,
like,
why?
Like, why are we here? Like, what?
I guess he assumed that Dr. Arm had gone home, and that.
Yeah, this unfortunately looks very. It's not a great look. Guma's like a cat.
We don't have all of the extra context for what happened there. I want to give him benefit of the doubt, but it looked a little bit like a whoopsie.
Guma's like, okay, guys, I thought we were doing the Cho'Gath game. You guys are doing the Zeus Chase game over there.
Yeah.
Like, I thought this was the game we show off the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, you guys playing the Lee Sin game again? We played that game so many times. His Oner is now going to get taken down. There we go. Croco going to turn into a Lee Sin. Let's see how he goes. His body slam, pretty good ability, but the Glacial Prison is going to come forward, and now the turnaround. A possibility here for DRX. And Croco answers back.
Crowd control enjoyers?
Oh, yeah. I love this.
Yeah, a bit of an overextension there. As it has been all about the top side of the map, but this time they strike back. 600 gold into Croco's pocket. They get 2 kills here. Faker is taken out. And, you know, they almost saved the turret, but they did not save the turret. Zeus is going to get the turret.
Oner and Croco in perfect balance right now. 3-2-2, 2-3-3.
True.
2-1-2 for both of the top laners. What does it mean?
I don't think it means anything.
1-0-0-0-1-0?
It is very cool to say it out loud.
Yeah. I think there's a conspiracy or something going on.
Oner being very greedy here, and he is very alone. Like, Faker was nearby, and they have the top push in, but at this point, DRX are like, all right, we're going to opt into your top side shenanigans, and we're going to actually have the numbers advantage, and we're going to win. And we have a lot of CC. I mean, it's absurd, actually, how much CC they have.
Yeah.
And this is what Sejuani comps often look like. This time, the Viego with it. It's the Viego Sejuani, which has further CC. But T1's still going to get the second Drake here. Let's find out what soul it's going to be.
Up you go.
Could be Infernal. It's not that skin, Atlas.
It's always that skin in my mind.
I know. But I'm just trying to bring you back to reality for a second.
Oh, oops, there goes gravity.
It's bony Cho'Gath.
It is, I know. And Jurassic Cho'Gath is pretty cool, because when he gets really huge, he still looks kind of small, because, you know, he's just a skeleton. Anyway,
yeah,
Gumayusi moving towards the bottom lane.
The skin makes you realize Cho'Gath didn't really have good posture. But it's okay.
Or maybe whoever assembled him just assumed he had bad posture.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't really understand the true beginnings. We might have some time to discuss it here, as there is a slight pause. Ping happening on top of the Viego, I believe, in the jungle. On the Sejuani? On
the Sejuani, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that was a reason for the pause. It doesn't seem to be on the DRX side, as referees are not crowding. No, it is actually. Bit of a Croco situation happening.
Yeah, we'll get you guys the updates as they come to us, of course.
Yeah, the update wasn't there's a Croco situation, because that's not really a reason to ban.
We have kind of like memed a little bit through this game. We explained some of what the Cho'Gath does on the lane, like the Q-Max is there. You get Rod of Ages, you accelerate your upgrades of your abilities, or your ultimate rather, where you can feast on something like a Sejuani extremely well, get a lot of value there against that tank in the front line. You have a scaling Sejuani that gets a lot of range right, but on the side of DRX, because of some of those kills that went over there on the top side, they've got a big gold injection, and their composition is all about pick. And they have a Zeri that if the front line of T1, which is relatively non-existent, it's weirdly like the Cho'Gath, who's the 80 carry, is the front line in this composition for T1. You have a Gragas, but he's building damage. But if any of this front line dies, Zeri just runs at them.
True.
And then, like, no one can lock Duck Dom down anymore, and he actually pops off and carries. So this game is not over by any means, even though topside looks really doomed, and Sejuani has lost so much farm. DRX could come back, as we do have the frame drop issue that's cropped up a few times this season. So
yeah, I've seen it a few times here and there, so Croco is probably going to turn it off and on again. Thankfully, he's got a new computer for that one, as we discussed previously.
He's not going to be rebooting.
I'm really glad that it goes back to our previous story here, Wolf. SSDs being a thing, pretty nice. So, yeah, we are just going to get him back into the game, and hopefully that is going to solve it, and then we'll be fine. But yeah, I actually want to go back to the game that we cast already of the Senna and the Cho'Gath. It never really got off the ground, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the composition doesn't really revolve around it. What you do get with having Cho'Gath in the game in general is a lot of secure, which is absolutely fantastic. Like Feast and Smite together means that you almost never have to 50-50 anything, because it's just yours if you press those buttons at the same time. But getting through the mid-game can be a little bit difficult, and that's what we saw Nongshim sort of fall into, was not actually having the ability to leverage any of their power. I don't think that situation is going to happen here for T1, but they have already had one little hiccup.
Yeah.
And if they continue to have hiccups like that, then we could find ourselves in that situation where
they just need to hold their
DRX
breath.
dictating the game. Yeah.
They just need to hold their breath. That's what works for me when I have hiccups.
Yeah. It was also being surprised.
That doesn't work for me as much.
No, I do the hold the breath thing as well, just for 20 seconds.
All right, we're back in.
We should be all right. As so Rocco should be all right with his frame rate now, so we should be good to go.
So the Senna has range damage, but it is very weak. It is not that strong. It's not going to be what secures you a team fight versus Zeri. If Zeri lives the longest in the team fight, and you've used most of your ultimates as T1, it means that you're losing that team fight, basically. Your best range damage otherwise is this Jace, who did go for Gordrinker, so it's not the Eclipse variant here, so it can be a bit more of a brawler. But it's kind of a CC battle between these two teams right now, and if the front line of T1 goes down after Sejuani leads into a Viego, leads into a seismic shove, then you're in big trouble. Now, T1 getting turrets like this for free uncontested for second Heralds, that's exactly what Guma wants. He's like, thanks for the free scaling.
And do they even get it is the question, as Oner is not going to go for the steal and not fighting for a Herald. They've definitely grown, haven't they? Every time they don't fight for a Herald, I get more and more proud. As Doctor going to be slowed down underneath this turret. Extendo Beam stands his ground, though, to make sure that he can collect all of this farm and does have backup on the way. As Glacial Prison will connect onto Faker here. Winter's Wrath does decent work for Rascal. In a bit of trouble, gets pulled back into T1. They all dive into the mist alongside Keria. Croco looking for his angle. He's also in some mist as well. It's very misty on the Rift here today. As the snare connects onto Dr. and of course the Q does as well. Kick Flash comes down, but he flashes away. Q going to miss him as now Fate. He's going to try and turn this one around. Croco still waiting for his moment to come in as Gumayusi lumbering towards them. And they had to walk through that choke. Beryl now goes down extremely low as the rupture goes wide. Gumayusi able to walk it out, but no one actually falling down there.
The turret, though, does go down, which is pretty huge. Fate?
Oh, dear. There's the flash. And Faker not pressing his flash button. He'll have that one up again as Fate going to get knocked up by the rupture. He goes golden, but that is only going to allow him to see his death. And now an inner turret is going to go down as well. And you mentioned it, man, like the first bit of CC. If it connects, it's all over. And they played the tiptoe really well at the beginning.
They really did. And you could also see, too, that when Duckdom didn't go down there in that initial engagement, he's only on one item, but he was like, all right, we're walking back. Croco's there on the flank, and they were almost able to win a team fight there because T1 didn't have Guma there. But once Guma shows up, everything changes, right? He has more CC to set up. But Duckdom not dying initially here as the turret goes down with the root is actually huge. You can see, like, okay, there's a lot of follow-up here. Wild Growth goes on him. He gets over the wall and flashes. And then, like, Duckdom played that, by the way, extremely well. And then, in this moment, you're like, oh, man, could DRX win this fight? Like, Duckdom, as long as he has 1 health or more, like, he does a ton of damage in these choke points, and T1 can't actually catch anybody. Then we chase. Then we overextend, right? And Guma's here now, and DRX really messed this up, unfortunately. And Fate's just not on the same page with the rest of his team. Like, this is super bizarre. He flashes early thinking he's going to hit by the body slam. Then he's zoned into the rupture. Then he stopwatches, and it's 100% over. Croco just has to watch in the brush in sadness. Because there's nothing he can do. And T1, they really won out hard on this exchange.
They did. And now it's going to be a Jace face checking. Seismic shoves beautiful. He does manage to get himself a whole bunch of health with his Gore Drinker. Still catches me by surprise when Jace has built those. But he's still real dead. So DRX find themselves a little bit of an advantage here towards the bottom side. T1 still with a close to 4,000 gold lead, right? They are still well and truly ahead in this game. As we're ticking closer to Baron time, which scares me a little.
Yeah. By the way, this turret survives, which is really huge, because Duckdom would have loved to pick up some of that extra bounty gold. As this comp is kind of now almost in a weird way played like a funnel comp for DRX, where they're like, just as long as the Zeri gets money, we're feeling pretty good. As ASC lives a long time with Gore Drinker, it actually looks absurd. Almost looked like he was the one who got the wild growth there. But they do save the turret. But they're basically playing this game now like a 1-3-1, where they're like, all right, we're just going to make sure Zeri has money, and sometimes the Zeri's in the 1 when we're trying to push these turrets to get bounty. Sometimes the Zeri's in the 3 because we're trying to protect her to make sure she gets money. Because she has to carry this game. We have all the CC to set up for it, so make sure she doesn't die. Yep. And Duckdom has no flash right now, so that's very difficult to ensure. But just make sure this Zeri gets farm of any kind, as much as she can get, and we can win this game. Because you have 3,000 gold down, almost 4,000 gold down here now. As DRX, you could still win this 100% if you actually get the Zeri to 3 items.
Yeah, 3 versus 2 here as Glacial Prison does go wide. Good rupture to try and get them away, but Gumayusi is not exactly the most mobile champion in the game right now, as the seismic shove does get flashed, and he gets over the wall. The size, oh my god, the shockwave value was massive, and now Gumayusi's back in it. He wants more now, as T1 are grouped around this dragon, and DRX, they lose too much of their health bars, and I think that was just a gore drinker chase. Shock blast.
Shock blast there. I mean, he does have his Muramana completed at least, but it's not as much damage as an Eclipse would normally give you, and still it's enough to win the fight because it's that plus Dawn of Shadows, and you're like, well, I don't know if we can actually fight this anymore. Good kick from Oner too in the exchange.
Yep, as Faker is possibly going to die here. He flashes, has body slam, never mind. It's Rod of Ages, Gragas, who am I kidding? He is not dying, as Rupture is going to go wide, does get avoided with the Arctic Assault. And DRX are able to at least get out of there with their tail in between their legs.
And they might just have to give this turret up. Like, every time T1 win these fights, they get a turret.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to do, because they need to end this game fairly quickly, and getting these structures off the map is going to be the easiest way they can get gold, because killing champions is really hard, but if you just win the fight and push the champions away, you just force all the way to the turret. Basically, T1 are kind of grouping as 5, because that's the only way this comp can work right now, and just grouping and pushing super hard, winning a team fight on an objective. And even if there's no kills, they still win the team fight. They push to the lane that's closest. They grab a turret. They've done it in mid. Now they've done it in bottom. Top side, potentially the next target after they get this Baron. As DRX do have the faster setup here.
Yeah, so the Baron is being scoped out, and that is definitely what you want to do as DRX.
Rascal is not here. He's very far away. They're trying to sell this like they're not doing this, but T1 are very aware that they are doing. In fact,
I mean, T1 were on their way to do it themselves. Obviously, it's 20 minutes. They're a minute late to the Baron, to be perfectly honest. As Faker's going to move in, Rascal does make his way over. Didn't have to teleport, as another Shock Blast is going to come through. Gets the squishy targets beautifully there. As Doctor dives on top of the Jace, and Zeus is going to go down. Oh, to the skies does so much work, but he's not actually able to lock down any kills. So DRX now able to fight this one out 5 versus 4. However, with the 2 low health bars, they're going to have to back away. And so DRX, once again, they're going to fight, but they don't get enough.
Keria actually looks like he might try to stop some backs here with his ultimate, and he's just going to scry them here. And DRX, some of these backs do go off, but critically Duckdom does get back and can return here with full health. So T1 lose Jace. He does not have teleport. It's coming up very soon here, but they won't be able to start this Baron off. And any time that DRX buy in this game is huge for them. You know, it's really it could be eventually a turning point. I'm so scared something's happening in live right now, as it is.
It is, and that's a seismic shove. So Gumayusi gets a big Seraph shield, but I have a feeling they're still going to be able to burn him down. It takes a while, but there we go, and that's the Zeri picking up the kill. And now Brocco, he's going to turn into the Cho'Gath. He gets kicked into, though. Rascal is going to stop the advance of the prehistoric creature.
I mean, this is a turning point in this game. The DRX getting 2 critical picks here, and the gold infusion they are picking up right now is massive. And where's the range damage? If you don't have great engage and you don't have chain CC, Baker's Cask isn't scary anymore. They're just going to TP the Sejuani mid and then group to push for Baron. You gotta think. I mean, and if you're quick enough here on this as DRX, you win this fight. You've got great turn. And Rod of Age is almost done here for Faker again. This is a massive spike for him on 2 items. But they need the combo. They need Guma. He's not here for the smite battle.
And Zeus is. And so he's going to be able to rain these shock blasts down. Keria looking for his opportunity. He's now in a very awkward position. Does have to flash. The Piercing Darkness comes in. T1, they have, like, it's so weird because it feels like both of these teams outrange each other in certain situations, right? Because Piercing Darkness, a lot of range, and as well as these shock blasts from T1. But Fate is able to keep people at a distance, and when there's no, regular AD carry, right, it does mean that he can sort of weave his way in and out of these fights. Yeah. It's just a really bizarre situation.
And it's also the fear of any CC hitting that really keeps DRX at arm's length here, because Zeri is also extremely low range, right? I mean, she does a lot of damage, but the CC has to come down first, and DRX basically can't start fights off unless it's a great Sejuani ult into a shove, etc. Like, this is the kind of CC we're talking about here. But if T1 just wait and kind of wrap around them, like even Keria's flank that we saw just a moments ago, you can't punish him, because if you turn onto Keria, the rest of the team collapses in and you get caught by just one part of the CC. Doesn't matter. Keria even hits you with a root and sacrifices his life for it, you lose that fight. So DRX looking very timid here. But their goal ultimately is to deny this Baron for as long as possible. If they can get a pick right before and take it, that would be obviously a nice bonus. But they're trying to survive for this area to become a better win condition, survive for this Talia to get more online. She's already got her 2-item spike too, but it's a game of CC right now.
Oh, well, they're going to be able to find another catch here as Keria in a bit of trouble. Dawning Shadow not going to work because he's going to fall down the Rupture. Getting a lot of work done as now T1 find themselves a man down yet again. Still, DRX not able to close this one out as far as snowballing it through to get these objectives. They move back towards the Baron now. We'll see whether T1 can actually fight this, or whether they're going to have to give it up, giving the man advantage here for DRX.
T1, they still have great tools to fight this, even without Keria. He's really just the support, remember?
Yeah, quite literally, yeah.
Guma has ult, so it's really hard for DRX to start this.
Well, Doctom is going to throw a burst fire at the Baron, but we're still just, I mean, DRX just looks so scared, and you can understand exactly why, as the Seismic Shove will connect, and Fate may have caught Gumayusi yet again. Feral Scream doesn't get a lot of value, but that Shock Blast does. Oh, man.
DRX starting this up again.
Well, Keria is back, so I don't know whether they can actually do this. Croco is below half health, and Rascal, similar story. He doesn't have a Warmogs like a lot of these other Sejuanis that we see coming from the jungle does. So this is permanent damage, and now Zeus is going to casually come on over and collect a soul.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that important in the grand scheme of things. Can be kind of annoying, but DRX much rather focus on this Baron.
Yeah.
It's going to get away with this, though. I mean, it's still huge. It is going to get the Elder spawner.
Speaking of...
because, like, the Elder, yeah, he's pretty big. The Elder is what T1 want to do as soon as possible here, because if the game goes longer, this Cho'Gath isn't going to scale very well. Like, he gets bigger, he gets tankier, but you're going to have range problems, you're going to have big issues, especially with the build that the Jace has taken here. But this is a game of CC. Like, I keep saying that because it literally is. Like, that is all, if anything, that's about. It's not about, like, what the 80 carries items are and stuff like that. No, she built LDR, Doctom did, right away, because he's like, there's a Cho'Gath I got to get through.
Yeah, he's going straight for that now.
And, you know, DRX just keeps setting up in these choke points, but it's very difficult to start Baron. But they're like, Sejuani ult prepped. Okay, we've got shove after that. And, you know, if T1 try to counter-engage and don't kill Doctom, he becomes unkillable and he carries the fight. Like, that's what it's all about.
Unless, like, so there's, like, a few different points that we can get to here, because if Gumayusi gets to a point where he can just flash feast and the Zeri dies, like
that is also
that could also happen.
But I think in order to get to where Doctom is, you're going through a lot of CC, right? Like, you go through the Sejuani, so, like, it's more nuanced than that, I think, but it can happen for sure.
Oh dear, it's a shooting gallery as Rascal going to get snared. Not going to snare the rest of his teammates, but he's put into the bouncy castle, and there goes the boar. The kickback onto Doctom. He gets wild growth, though, and then skates his way out.
That's Baron. That's Baron.
It should be.
I mean, Doctom's still alive here, so that's a big threat, but they didn't use everything in order to do this. I mean, they used a lot, right? And
yeah.
They are going to push DRX back, but I think they have enough damage here.
No feast.
That's true, actually. That's a good point.
The ultimate secure not there, but they do have a lot of ability haste as Croco's going to get knocked up. Faker finds the body slam. Q's going to connect as well as Heartbreaker is going to be used. He does escape, but there is a lot of panic here on the DRX side, and T1 just going to get back to work here. Zeus and Oner able to take this one up, and Faker's not even going to let this out of turret go while they're taking Baron.
I think the next...
Oh, he's flashing. All right. Body slam comes in. He slows down Doctom. He's like, guys, I found him. I found him. I found Doctom.
If Doctom has flash and doesn't die, I mean, it's hard to play.
Zeus is on the flank. He just dives on top of Beryl. The Baron is going to be taken. Oner had to do it by himself in the end there. T1 are just doing so many things. They're spinning all the plates here, Wolf.
I mean, now this is going to be the Baron push to end, potentially. I mean, if Doctom is alive, there's a chance. Where there's a Zeri, there's a way. There is pushing all these turrets down now.
I mean, T1 are just multitasking so much. They are doing so many things all at the same time. This inhibitor is going to go down. The Baron is now transitioned to this top lane turret, and now T1 can group up with Oner as the... Okay, Weaver's Wall comes in. Faker going to move away because he's a very, very fast portly gentleman. And so no seismic shoves are going to come through, and now they can go for a reset and spend the billions of gold that they have after that Baron did come through. Already a 2.7k Baron power play, or as I say, at 2.5.
So T1, I mean, with the money they've just picked up and the map control, okay, Faker might not actually get out of here alive.
Well, we'll see. Doesn't have the cast. There's the permafrost. Gets put in cold jail as well, as Doctom might be able to get yet another kill. He goes golden.
Buying some time.
He is, but he's still going to be dead. and Dokdam is going to be given his third kill of the game.
He almost had enough to just buy Zonia's outright, I think. So he was like, not too concerned about this, as he's going to be able to buy it pretty soon here. But these fights, if Dokdam is alive, it feels really bad for T1 to actually continue chasing. But look at the setup here. Once you get the first kill, Dokdam should never be this far forward. He has wild growth and he is able to skate over the wall because he's Zeri. But man, if he dies there, I think T1 have already killed the Nexus at this point. And he just kites back here. Look at what Dokdam can do by himself here against the chase. If there's not enough CC to kill him, or burst damage to kill him in this case, then T1 can't quite continue to chase, because once those CCs are on cooldown, they're like, we're just running at this guy, and he's doing damage, and we can't catch him because he's going to keep zooming over walls. He's going to keep slowing us with his extendo beam. He's got wild growth on him. But now it's just a war of attrition with this Baron buff, and T1 are pushing through. They have one inhibitor down, they're pushing for a second.
Well, there's the rupture. Gumayusi just standing in front of his team. He steps on a seismic shot, but it doesn't matter. He's just going to hit this turret. Cask flies through barrel. Going to be knocked back. Double knock up there onto Rascal and Dokdam, but the inhibitor is what T1 are focusing on. Fate takes a shock blast, and DRX are just trying to hold on. They need to find a window to get some sort of counter engage here.
T1, I mean, that's the thing, like, they're trying so desperately, but they've done enough damage to Dokdam. They feel like they can keep pushing this. And they can just do this until the Elder spawns.
Yeah, he just walked back. Dawning Shadow is going to bring him under half health.
They can try to end now.
Yeah, as another seismic shot, but Gumayusi's just soaking all of this damage. Defensive flash, but there's the rupture. He yells at the Sejuani, and she is going to go to the death chamber. Dokdam cannot get in range. Finally, he's going to open. The kick is immediately there from Oner. He puts down the Zeri, and the Nexus explodes.
Oh man, T1